revision of every re-release or the deluxe versions or the expanded editions?
Oh yes, very much so. I mean, that's part of my job, especially when it involves bonus tracks, which outtakes and demos and things like that. It takes quite a lot of time and research, to find this stuff that's nearly 50 years old. All the tapes are all over the world, and where is the original master? And nobody knows.
And how do you feel when you revisit all your recordings? Like, for instance, this first album.
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's a great feeling to relive the past, and when you hear the takes of the songs, there's always a little something just before the music starts, or a bit of laughter at the end or something. It just reminds you of the good times we had making these records. The Tales of Mystery box set. Yeah, I can show it to you.
Yes.
This was the quite a big box. This was the
yeah, it is really beautiful.
This was the 40th anniversary. So maybe I put it upside down or something.
Yes.
And this had a nice book and vinyl copies and all that stuff. So quite a nice package. But I wasn't aware of a re-release in Mexico.
Well, so, yeah, it says in actually in your webpage that it's coming out on March, so I'll make sure I'll have it, because I'm a real big fan of that album, as I'm a big fan of all your recordings in many ways. I was going to ask you, do you feel particularly proud of a single album that you have done?
I usually come back to the first album when asked which is my favorite. It's because it was such a new territory. It was the first time I'd put my name on something as artist, and it was pretty much the first time that a producer had become an artist, and it was,
yes,
it was pretty radical, pretty new at the time. The funny thing is that the identity of the Alan Parsons project was not established until just literally a few weeks before the release. It was just going to be various artists, Edgar Allan Poe, Tales of Mystery and Imagination, various artists, produced by Alan Parsons. But it changed when the head of the record label in Los Angeles said, Alan Parsons Project, I like that. That's the name of the act, not just the name of the album. So
then Clive Davis came into your life. Was he meaningful to your work?
Oh, very, very much so. I mean, he has the best ears in the business. I mean, he knows a hit when he hears it, and he was, I think, very, very instrumental in our success. Not only in the album charts, but also the singles charts.
And then two milestones came along to me as well, commercially speaking, that were Turn of a Friendly Card and then Eye in the Sky. Then you started to be really recognized, not only as a very meaningful producer and a music man, but also as a musician. What do you like to do best? Do you like to write music? Do you like to perform? Do you like to work behind the desk?
I'm interested to hear you say I became known as a musician. I've still really maintained that I'm a producer, not a. I'm a songwriter. I'm a composer, but you don't often hear me playing an instrument, and you don't often hear me singing on the records. I've done some of the recent work in the last 3 or 4 years. I've done a bit of singing, and I've been singing on stage. But the records really, I still feel my main role is as a sound engineer and recording producer.
And when you first came out on tour, was it a big challenge to reproduce all this music on stage?
It was much more of a challenge when we first started. I mean, in the mid '90s, when we first went out on the road, we had to have two keyboard players because it was just impossible to get all the various sounds that were included on the record on just with one keyboard and one player. And we could have used tapes, but we resisted that. We resisted using any kind of pre-recording. But over the years, the keyboard technology became more advanced, and we were able to sequence things and get the orchestral sounds much closer to the original record with keyboards. So it's I've always appreciated the advancement in musical instrument technology as well as recording audio technology. The keyboards and the stuff that's available to musicians has really grown a lot in the last 50, almost 50 years. It continues to improve, and recording technology it never stops. I mean, it's just there's something new every day in the recording, in the studio world.
And then you gave an incredible step also by making your music symphonic and going to tour with that. How hard was that for you to find that all this music that was originally done in the studio, then it was performed with a big orchestra?
Yeah, I think the decision to put out an album with orchestra was a good one. I think when we first started playing live, the concept of having an orchestra play along with us was not only prohibitive financially. I mean, it costs. I mean, it costs between $15,000 and $20,000 to put an orchestra for one show. But I welcomed the concept of doing a show with orchestra. One of the reasons it works is that we have so many microphones on the orchestra. Mm-hmm. I mean, symphonic orchestra is traditionally recorded with just a few mics several feet away, but when you have a rock band to compete with, you literally have to have a mic on every instrument. Every violin has a little clip-on mic. Every woodwind instrument has a microphone dedicated to each instrument. But we really did very well. We've had three orchestral releases over the years. We've had one in Colombia, which is probably the one you probably know.
Yes.
There's also what I feel is the best one is live in Tel Aviv in Israel. Mm-hmm. With the Israel Philharmonic Orchestra. We got a really good result with that one.
I have always wondered if you had a mentor that guided you through Abbey Road in the 60s. Was there a formal teacher for Alan Parsons back then?
One of the nice things about the way that Abbey Road Studios operated, it was you started at the bottom and you worked your way up through the ranks. So I started it, my first job in Abbey Road was in the tape library, just logging tapes and carrying tapes around the building. Then I started, being a fly on the wall on sessions, just watching the engineers, and then becoming a tape op. So the mentors were the engineers. no one could argue that Jeff Emerick wasn't a great engineer and a great influence on the way the Beatles sounded. So I learnt a lot from him. I learnt a lot from many of the other engineers that I worked with at Abbey Road over the years. And there's not a single artist in the world that hasn't at some point made a recording at Abbey Road. So I got to meet a lot of artists and a lot of producers and a lot of engineers too. I mean, it was every experience then, you know, when I was developing from being literally just a tape operator up to being a producer. Every experience was influential. Every collaboration meant something.
Do you have 3 key milestones in your almost this 50-year career that you can recall as these are the 3 most important things that I have done, musically speaking, or in terms of production? Do you identify those 3 moments?
Three things that, well, I could not really discount Dark Side of the Moon, because that I'm reminded literally every day of my life that I worked on that, you know, one of the biggest albums of all time. So I'm very proud of that. One particularly great moment for me was in the mid-70s. I was doing really well as a producer, as a pop record producer. I was doing really well with Steve Harley, Cockney Rebel, Pilot, and John Miles, all of whom I had top 10 hits with.
Yeah.
So that was a big moment for me. In particular, the having 2 consecutive number one singles on the UK chart, one after the other, 2 number ones with different artists. I think I'd probably nominate this again as being an important moment. It really is. It really started the whole Alan Parsons project thing, you know, and so I would nominate that in those 3 things.
That's great. For the sake of time, I have a couple of questions left, which is, I will never forget the moment that you were in Mexico for the first time in the Sports Palace. That was July 1995. And you performed along with Kansas and then with Procol Harum. And then 30 years after that great moment, you're still coming back to our country. How do you feel every time that you come to Mexico, and how close are you to the Mexican culture?
I love Mexico. I love. I actually own property in Mexico, believe it or not, in the Yucatan. I've always felt that the audiences in Mexico are some of the most enthusiastic in the whole world. They really are. It's always a pleasure to come, and I'm not particularly involved in Mexican music or Mexican culture. I love Mexican food.
Yeah.
No, but I've always had a good time, and the Mexican people are always very warm and gracious, and it's always a pleasure to come and play. What is the Mexican audience to expect from this upcoming concerts? You'll be performing in Monterrey, which is a stage that you've been in several times. You've been into Puebla as well. Now you're coming to a new venue in Puebla, which is the Explanada on April the 6th. And then finally you're coming back to the Arena in Mexico City. What are we to expect from this moment in Alan Parsons' life and his music? Well, you know, the show, the Alan Parsons live project show is really what people want to hear. We play the hits, you know. Occasionally we'll play a new song from one of the more recently recorded albums, but it's a show of hits. That's what people want, and that basic premise has not changed over the years. we come to please the audience, and they respond very enthusiastically, and I hope that will be the same when we come this time.
It's going to be amazing, Alan. The Mexican audience really loves your music. The people feel a lot of respect from you. The media loves you as well. So I wish you the best, and I'm really looking forward to see you here in Mexico City. Thanks for your time.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Take care.